The last question is from Anna, and it's a bit longer, so I will try to read it all properly here. But Dear Sat Shree and Satyamai, after introducing myself to you briefly 2 months ago, I've been overwhelmed by the feeling of connection to you and the community and feel much gratitude. Even though it has been through online broadcasts and not face-to-face, the energy has been strong and there's a real sense of being held and supported, which is why I wanted to reach out for guidance.
Very good.
In July last year, I felt called to give up work and I finished in October. I felt like I needed to let go somehow, create some space. Even though I had no idea what I would do, it felt time to make a leap, to commit to a journey of the heart. At the same time, I began to experience a deep physical process and have been supported for the last 8 months by a cranial sacral therapist, working through an intense birth trauma, the shock of coming into being, and all the challenges of embodiment. It has taken me to some very dark places, not feeling able to be in the world, that there's no place for me. I am grateful that I can rest in nature, where I always find connection and joy and everything makes sense. I have experienced glimpses of overwhelming love moving through me, but much confusion as grief and fear come forward first, and so I push it all away, not understanding until more recently that love has been underneath. The love is indescribable, immense and beautiful. I am home. Then fear rushes in to protect me because I don't know how to hold such love in this world, or my system isn't ready for it and it closes down. My humanness is longing for clarity on what is happening. Am I misguided to believe that this is a transition to a new way of being, or that I am in some way awakening? I don't know what it means to be aligned, to listen to my heart, or where to begin. My mind convinces me that this journey is not for me. I feel useless, coming undone, not functional at a human or soul level. All that persists is a longing to be of service, but I have no sense of a purpose to focus me. With much love and gratitude, Anna.
You know, our stories are so rich. They make it personal. And much of what you shared, Anna, many people are in that process right now with you. So there's some things to speak to. I think you writing this, it's like you journaled to your higher self when you wrote this, because I can feel that quality of resonance from what you just shared. And although we don't have that many opportunities for sharing the fullness of one story in a group, it is useful to share it for yourself. That was quite poignant. So the nature of what you're in is you did make the leap. Now, what happens when you leap? You don't need to leap if you know where it's going. There's no need for leaping if you know what's going to be what's next. Leaping is always an act of faith, beyond trust, beyond confirmation. So you leaped, and this is what you're discovering. It's not anything you could anticipate. It's not something you can figure out like we usually figure things out, to see its direction and purpose, to quiet those parts of ourselves that do not yet know how to be in the leap. Perhaps you knew how to leap, but what you're learning now is how to be in that process of leaping. And that is the art of transformation, is the willingness to be vulnerable, the willingness not to know, the willingness to ride the current from sorrow and doubt and helplessness and powerlessness into love as big as an ocean, into a greater reality of what it is we are. Now, this is unspeakable. This hasn't been languaged a lot, because in the past it was a rare few human beings that went through this process, and very, very few came out on the other side with a context or an understanding of what they went through or what it meant. But here in this time, we don't have that problem. We know there is such a thing as transformation. There is such thing as a process by which we become something other, different than what we were before, much like a caterpillar goes into its cocoon and is dissolved entirely. If you examine a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, its very fundamental elements are being dissolved within the cocoon. And then what comes out is a new order, a new ordering, and thus the butterfly. But you're in the cocoon. On it, you're being held. And it's because of the cocoon that you will come out with something that is already revealing itself to you. So you're in the mature state of your own transmutation. So what is the purpose of this? Well, the purpose is for the world. This is happening to you because you came for the world. And that the discovery of the limitations in you is part of the process. And you can't ask the caterpillar to eat a leaf when it's in the middle of a cocoon. You can't go out and get a job and handle the normal things in the world when you're in this period of transmutation. You have to have space for yourself. And the other thing to know is there's no location needed, because this is consciousness. It's everywhere. You can be in any location. And that transformational process can occur when you tap into the current itself that's shifting the very foundational basis of your identity. So frankly, it's very good news. It's wonderfully written. I think you have your own answer. If there will be periods of suffering and misery and doubt and confusion, helplessness and powerlessness. This is when you start coming down to the fundamental structures of your ego that's trying to justify its existence all the time. Ego is always having to effort to keep itself in existence. When you get right down to those very tenuous, unstable parts of your being, it means you're very close to the ultimate vulnerability. And with that, the ultimate freedom. So the more open you are, the more vulnerable you are, the more you participate with that in the immediacy of it, rather than how beautifully you've written it, but just to be where you are, the more that doorway opens and you cross the threshold that allows you to stay stable in what you're becoming. You begin to truly fly in the freedom of the truth of you. Interim, it's going to take time, right? You spent your life up to now creating, protecting, and enhancing the ego wittingly or unwittingly. So yeah, there's this process of it showing itself, losing its authority, and dismantling. So although you're fairly new to me in this work, you were ready. And that's why it's moving so rapidly. But you do need to be patient. You do need to know that it's a process that you can trust, that you can allow, and that it'll keep showing you what it's already showing you. So, like I say, trust your own experience. It's proof. It's the only proof you really have of what it is you're becoming. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Alan. Now, anything you'd like to say to that one, Jaya?
Just a practical thing came up related to what Sat Shree was saying in the beginning about the power of relationship and fellowship, just to make use of there's many groups and small groups and study groups associated with New Dharma, and this can be a real solace to be able to share our experiences and relate to others who are going through similar experiences. So there's lots of information on the website.
It's good. I was just reading today a scientific study that when people started to act different than the way they're used to, they become the different person. And it takes just like months. So if you felt you couldn't relate to other people, and then you put yourself into situations where you purposefully relate to people, a very rapid acceleration happens because the person's choosing to do it rather than trying to avoid being overtaken. So there is this kind of like collaborative process you could go through, Anna, to bring you out of the cocoon, where you begin to pretend you can do it, and you fake it, right? I'm pretending. In a small group's a good place to fake it, pretend you're relating, and you discover that something new is coming. Fake it till you make it. It has a great truth to it. There you go. All right.